A single mother walked into Judge Judy's courtroom wearing a thrift store dress, carrying nothing but a folder of handwritten receipts. Across from her sat a wealthy family dressed in designer clothes, expensive watches, and the kind of arrogance money often mistakes for power. But within minutes, that family would say something so cruel, so openly classist, that the entire courtroom went silent. And what happened next was not just a legal ruling, it was a public lesson in dignity, decency, and why no amount of money gives anyone the right to treat another human being like they are beneath them. Because when Judge Judy finally saw the truth, she did not simply award money. She exposed a family who thought wealth made them untouchable. And by the end of this case, one hard-working mother would walk out with her head held high, while the people who tried to humiliate her would leave with their reputation shattered. This case began on a quiet Tuesday afternoon inside a Los Angeles courtroom. The file on Judge Judy's bench looked simple at first: Sophia Joseph versus the Brown family. A small claims case for unpaid domestic work. The amount requested was $4,850. But the moment the bailiff leaned toward Judge Judy before the hearing began, it became clear this case was not ordinary. He quietly warned her that the defendants had been rude to court staff, dismissive, and condescending. He also told her the plaintiff appeared nervous. Judge Judy looked down at the file again. The plaintiff was Sophia Joseph, a 34-year-old single mother of 2 children. She worked multiple jobs just to keep food on the table. She had no attorney, no expensive briefcase, no professional team behind her. Just one folder, carefully organized by hand. When Sophia entered the courtroom, she moved slowly and respectfully. She wore a simple navy dress, clean and pressed, but clearly old. Her hands held a folder so tightly that her fingers trembled. This was not just another unpaid bill for her. This money meant rent. It meant braces for her daughter. It meant shoes for her son. It meant maybe, for once, she could come home before midnight and actually see her children awake. Then the Brown family entered, and the contrast was impossible to ignore. Charles Brown walked in wearing a tailored designer suit and a watch that cost more than most people earn in a year. His wife, Victoria Brown, carried herself like the courtroom was wasting her time. Their daughter Madison followed behind them, staring at her phone, wearing designer athleisure, and barely looking up. They did not look worried. They looked annoyed, as if being asked to answer for unpaid labor was an inconvenience beneath their lifestyle. Judge Judy began firmly. She asked Sophia to explain her claim. Sophia took a breath and spoke with quiet respect. She told the court she had cleaned the Brown family's home twice a week for 6 months. The agreed rate was $185 per cleaning. For the first 3 months, they paid her. Then they stopped. But they continued asking her to come. They continued letting her clean their home, and for 26 sessions, they gave excuses, delays, and promises. Sophia opened her folder and showed her handwritten records. Every date, every time she arrived, every time she left, every room she cleaned, every task completed. Judge Judy studied the pages closely. These were not messy notes. They were precise, organized, consistent. The kind of documentation most professionals would be proud to present. Judge Judy looked at Sophia and acknowledged it. She told her the records were detailed and that it was clear she took her work seriously. For the first time, Sophia allowed herself a small, nervous smile. Then Charles Brown leaned back in his chair and tried to take control. He said the whole matter was a misunderstanding. He claimed Sophia's work had become poor. He said she became lazy, showed up late, missed spots, left streaks, and no longer delivered the quality they expected. Judge Judy immediately cut through the language. She asked one simple question: did they hire Sophia or not? Charles tried to say technically. Judge Judy stopped him right there. There was no technically. Either they hired her, or they didn't. Finally, he admitted they did. Then Judge Judy turned back to Sophia. Sophia calmly explained that she had never missed a scheduled day. She had only been late twice, both times because her son was sick and she had to take him to an emergency clinic. And even then, she had called ahead. She had phone records to prove it. That was when Victoria Brown interrupted. Her voice was sharp, cold, and full of contempt. She said, "You people always have excuses." The courtroom reacted instantly. People shifted in their seats. A few gasped. Even the bailiff's expression changed. Judge Judy's face hardened. She looked directly at Victoria and asked what she meant by, "You people." Victoria tried to soften it, but only made it worse. She said she meant people who were not professional, people who did not understand standards, people who did not understand excellence in service. Judge Judy leaned forward, and everyone who knew her courtroom knew that was a dangerous sign. She asked Victoria why, if Sophia's work was supposedly so bad, they kept calling her back. Why did they continue using her services? Why did they let her return again and again? Why did they text her the night before each cleaning appointment? And most importantly, why did they never put a single complaint in writing? The Brown family had no good answer. Charles said they should not have had to spell everything out. A true professional, he claimed, should recognize mistakes without needing guidance. Judge Judy was not impressed. She asked Sophia if she had evidence of the work she performed. Sophia nodded. Then she pulled out her phone. She had taken pictures after many of her cleaning sessions, not because she wanted praise, because she feared exactly this. She knew people like the Browns might one day question her work, so she protected herself. The photos were shown in court: spotless kitchen counters, shining bathrooms, vacuumed carpets, clean windows, organized rooms. Everything looked immaculate. The timestamps matched Sophia's written records. Judge Judy studied the images. Then she looked at Victoria and asked what exactly was wrong with this work. Victoria's face tightened. She said it was not only about clean floors or streak-free windows, it was about presentation. She claimed Sophia sometimes arrived in old clothes. Sometimes she looked tired. Sometimes she seemed like she had already been working all day. And in Victoria's opinion, that was inappropriate for the standards of their home. Judge Judy's voice dropped. She reminded Victoria that Sophia had been working all day because Sophia worked multiple jobs. That is what working people do. They work. Then Madison Brown finally looked up from her phone, and what she said changed the entire case. She said it was embarrassing when friends came over and saw Sophia in their house. She said the family had a certain image to maintain, a certain aesthetic. She said their friends would ask why they had that person cleaning their home. And then she said Sophia looked like someone who shopped at Goodwill. The courtroom erupted. People gasped. Someone in the gallery muttered, "Shame on you." Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but she did not break. She stood there, quiet and dignified, while the people who owed her money tried to make her feel worthless. Judge Judy stood up. The entire courtroom went silent. She asked Madison if she had just admitted that she was embarrassed by Sophia because of her appearance, because she wore old clothes, because she could not afford designer outfits while working herself to exhaustion. Madison tried to defend herself. She said Sophia did not fit their aesthetic. Victoria joined in. She said families like theirs had certain social expectations, certain appearances to maintain. Charles then made it worse. He said people like Sophia should be grateful for opportunities from families like theirs. He said they could have hired a professional agency instead. He said they had given her a chance she should appreciate. That was the moment Judge Judy slammed her hand on the bench. The sound cut through the room. She repeated his words back to him. People like her? Then she told him exactly who Sophia was. Sophia was a woman who worked 3 jobs, a woman who woke up before sunrise and came home late at night, a woman who kept perfect records because she could not afford to be cheated. a woman who photographed her work because she knew people with power might try to deny what she had done. Judge Judy told the Browns that Sophia had shown more professionalism, more discipline, and more integrity than their entire family had shown in that courtroom. Then she turned to Victoria. She told her that Sophia cleaned their toilets, scrubbed their floors, and made their home beautiful. And they were embarrassed by her because her clothes were old. Judge Judy reminded them why those clothes were old. Because Sophia spent her money feeding her children, not impressing wealthy people who judged her for surviving. Then Judge Judy turned to Madison. She told her that having followers, designer clothes, and a lifestyle brand did not make her better than anyone. Money, Judge Judy said, does not create class. It only creates the illusion of importance people who have never learned humility. Then Judge Judy held up Sophia's folder. She said the records inside were excellent. Dates, timestamps, text, confirmations, everything. There were 26 messages from Victoria confirming appointments. 26 times they asked Sophia to come. 26 times she showed up. 26 times she worked. And 26 times they failed to pay her. Judge Judy said that was not a disagreement over quality. That was theft of labor. That was exploitation. That was a wealthy family taking advantage of a woman they believed was too desperate and too powerless to fight back. Charles made one final attempt. He claimed they were giving Sophia time to improve. He said they intended to pay her later if her performance became more consistent. Judge Judy's response was ice cold. She told him people do not get to use someone's labor for free while deciding whether that person deserves to be paid. That is not business. That is not a contract. And it is certainly not basic human decency. Then she pointed out the obvious. Charles made millions. Victoria owned valuable real estate. Madison made money from her online lifestyle image. This family could afford luxury clothes, designer bags, expensive lunches, and country club living. But they refused to pay a single mother $185 for cleaning their house. Judge Judy had heard enough. She issued her ruling. Sophia Joseph was awarded the full $4.850 for the unpaid work. But Judge Judy did not stop there. She added punitive damages because the Browns had deliberately continued using Sophia's labor while withholding payment. She added damages for the humiliation and emotional harm caused by their cruel behavior in court. The total judgment came to $13,050, including court costs. Victoria exploded. She said over $13.00 for cleaning was outrageous. Judge Judy looked at her and corrected her. The cleaning was $4,850. The rest, she said, was for treating another human being like she was disposable. Charles stood up and threatened to appeal. Judge Judy did not blink. She told him he could appeal if he wanted, but the judgment stood. Then Madison suddenly panicked. She asked if this would actually be shown on television. For the first time, Judge Judy smiled, not warmly, not kindly, but knowingly. She told Madison yes, people would see it, her followers would see it, her friends would see it, and they would finally understand what kind of lifestyle she truly represented. Then Judge Judy told the Brown family to leave her courtroom. After they walked out, Judge Judy turned back to Sophia. Her tone changed completely. The sharpness disappeared, her voice became calm, steady, and almost protective. She told Sophia to hold her head high. She told her she had more class in her worn-out shoes than the Brown family had in all their designer clothing. She told her that honest work carries dignity, that cleaning homes, scrubbing floors, and supporting children is nothing to be ashamed of. The shame belongs to those who look down on people doing honest work. Sophia stood there with tears in her eyes. But this time, they were not tears of humiliation. They were tears of relief. For months, she had carried the weight of being ignored, delayed, judged, and disrespected. In that courtroom, someone finally saw her, not as a servant, not as a poor woman, not as someone beneath anyone, but as a hard-working mother who deserved to be paid and respected. And that is what made this case powerful, because it was never just about cleaning. It was about dignity. It was about the quiet people who work behind the scenes while others enjoy comfort. It was about the workers who are often invisible until someone wants to blame them. And it was about a courtroom reminding everyone that character is not measured by bank accounts, designer labels, or social media followers. It is measured by how you treat people when you think they have no power. The Brown family walked into that courtroom believing money made them superior. They walked out exposed. Sophia walked in nervous, tired, and uncertain. She walked out vindicated. And Judge Judy made one thing absolutely clear. In her courtroom, wealth may speak loudly, but truth speaks louder, and dignity will always be worth more than dollars.